So
she's brilliant as well.
She is.
Why isn't she here?
She's
She's my favourite. I voted for her. Oh, yeah, wouldn't for me.
And more importantly than that, she adds a bit of much-needed female glam, to an otherwise laddish programme. So what we'll do is we'll play another tune, a track from Rilo Kiley, and we'll see if we can dig up Sammy's whereabouts. Rilo Kiley album, Under the Backlight, that's Silver Lining. Harry, you went to see Rilo Kiley, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, a couple of weeks ago.
I'm a huge fan, but I wasn't able to make it due to other commitments. I was watching The Commitments, and I'd seen it for ages, it was great. Mustangs, Sally now, baby. And you enjoyed them?
I did, yeah. I mean, the new album's obviously a bit more poppy, I think, than previous
It's had mixed
attempts.
reviews.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like it. It takes a few listens, but live they were very good. Jenny's one sassy lassie, as we all know. But what troubled me all the way through the show, the guitarist is called Blake Sennett. I mean, you know me, I've seen, 6 films in my life?
Sure.
But I know a man who looks exactly like Michael J. Fox.
Right.
And it was very much like the scene in Back to the Future, where he's on stage playing guitar. It was just freaking me out.
Were you the disgruntled people in the audience, the teachers who didn't like that kind of new rock and roll music?
Oh, we weren't happy.
Sure. Now what, because I haven't heard the new album, so many people have been comparing it to sort of their Fleetwood Mac album. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think it is fair. They're obviously trying something different with it, but it works for me.
Oh, well, fair enough. We shall tune in ourselves and make a verdict. I was talking earlier about the disaster that was the beginning of the show. Apparently, what do we have from the listeners there? 1.5 minutes of silence. Apparently, the BBC backup emergency tape didn't kick in.
Well, hopefully they'll praise us for testing it out.
Sure.
Under such trying circumstances.
So there was just silence?
Yet nothing happened.
What's great about this show, having come back after 4 weeks, is it's already a shambles, and even more frustrating to add to the mix. Sammy, our regular CJ, and the only person who kind of keeps us from just turning into sort of a laddish zoo radio format, is not here either, and we've managed to track her down. Hopefully she's on the line now. Sammy, you there?
Hello, Steve, I'm here.
Alright, you sound a bit flustered and a bit panicked. Don't worry, calm down, relax.
I've only got a few millilitres of lemon squash left, Steve.
Oh my goodness, you must be in serious trouble. And what's the situation?
We are currently at St Neots Station. I haven't got a clue where that is, so I wouldn't ask.
To where?
Me.
Saying what? What? Neots?
Neots?
Isn't that in
I'll
France?
try and find a spelling if I can see the spelling.
Have you got on the channel by mistake?
I hope not. It is the kind of thing I'd manage to do.
So
I think it's Neots.
And so you are on a train.
I am, yeah.
You set off from the north, what, I imagine a couple of days ago.
A few days ago now, yes.
And you've not yet made it to us. Obviously, we're deeply concerned for your well-being, and obviously also you're a valuable contributor to the show, and I'll be honest with you, I've got nothing. So it's disappointing to not have you here. What's the situation? Why didn't the train just rattle on through to London?
Oh, it's just been a day filled with disasters. I got to the station this morning. I didn't have my student rail card. And if you don't have your student rail card, you are getting booted off a train. So I had to buy a new one. I had to get photos taken. It was mental. Got on the train, fell asleep, woke up in York, and everyone went, "Oh, you've got to get off." And I thought I'd been snoring too loudly or something, and it was like, no, everyone has to get off. So they booted all off the train. We're all just stood there like survivors of some horrible war, and then they piled onto another train. So it's been quite an exciting adventure.
And what's actual live in the flesh Sammy action?
Negligible.
Really?
It's now 13 minutes past 3, and I'm still in the middle of nowhere.
And just remind us again of where it is that you just docked, so that we can try and find out where the hell you are.
It was St Neots.
St Neots? No one's...
Half an hour past Peterborough.
Okay, so are you a Six Music listener who's ever heard of St Neots? If so, 64046, stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk. We just want to get a sense of Sammy's bearings. It's a bit like Treasure Hunt. We should combine it into some kind of feature. And so we'll try and find out where you are, and that'll give us a sense of an ETA on you.
Yes, well, we keep getting ETAs, but they're getting lengthier and lengthier.
Sure.
The general train moan every time the man comes to speak over the tannoy.
Conserve your lemon squash. We'll come back to you later and give you an update on your progress.
No problem, I'll speak to you soon.
Alright, thank you, Sammy.
Bye.
Bit round of applause in the Steve Wright style. Even in those difficult, trying circumstances,
What
she
a
still managed
hero.
to be an absolute
Heroine.
pro, and that's what we expect from her. We will have later on, I'm very pleased to say, a session with Amy Mann. She was in town a couple of weeks back, and before we went on our hiatus, I managed to bag her, and we got a little session. She's going to be playing a track which I think may be a radio exclusive. I don't think she's played it anywhere else yet, a new tune. But that'll be coming up later in the show. In the meantime, let's hear some Amy Mann, a track from a while back called Driving with One Hand on the Wheel.
You asked me to dinner, you brought me stuff.
my favourite singer-songwriters, Amy Mann, who will, as I say, be coming up on the show later on. I'd like to pretend that it was live and that she was live here in the studio, but of course, after recent BBC scandals, I would actually be physically hung, drawn and quartered for such a thing, Guy Fawkes styled. So, yeah, so
That's
I'm
quite
not
a coup, though, isn't it? Getting her, isn't it? Shouldn't we be making a big deal of it?
I'd like to think so. She was, of course, dare we say it, Oscar-nominated one time, and I will be mentioning that to her later. I say I'll be mentioning it, I won't. I already have mentioned it 7 weeks ago. Once again, I've already fallen into that whole BBC habit of pretending that she's here live. No, she will be coming up later on tape, live from the BBC, and we will talk to her, and also she plays a tune, as I say, that I don't think has yet been heard anywhere in the world. I hope that's the case. Obviously, it was 4 weeks ago. By now, it's probably all over the airwaves. Back after this trial with some Prince. Prince, of course, and Sign of the Times from 1987, and I play that because I'm a big Prince fan, and I can prove that because I've currently been to see 3 of his 21 nights here in London, and if you've not yet bagged yourself a ticket, I'd like to quote the lines I see on almost every single theatrical poster on the tube: beg, borrow or steal to get a ticket, because it's dynamite, and I saw him again last night. I think it was probably the best of the 3 I've seen. Actually, he did about 3 encores, and at one point he was just sat at his little keyboard, which he'd basically turned into a drum machine, and he was just kind of using that to play stuff like Sign of the Times, and he just segued that into Alphabet Street. Just him alone at the keyboard, the audience wild for it. Particularly the point at which he just let it go dead, and everyone just shouted "Toking a machine gun," which was nice. It's nice to see that High on Crack, "Toking a machine gun" can become a sing-along classic line. And it's killer. Harry, have you been to see him yet?
I've not yet. I'm going to see him in a couple of weeks. But is it really worth going to see a 7th of his 21 shows? That seems ridiculous.
Well, yes, because not only does he vary it by about 15% each time, but the man is just such a showman, such an incredible performer. There is a whiff of Vegas about it, I'm not going to lie to you. He comes out of the stage, surrounded by smoke, striking a pose, but he's just an extraordinary performer, and there are very few, I think, live performers now who have that sort of showmanship quality. They know they're putting on a show. I actually mentioned Jenny Lewis earlier, and she always strikes me as someone who's got a great sense of stage theatre, but nowadays it seems like, it's long-haired fringes, head down, rage through the set, wander off again. Not Prince. He talks to the audience, he plays around.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
I mean, my friend went to see Prince, and he was a little disappointed because he concentrated a lot on album tracks that night, and it got to the first encore, and he sat at his piano and started bashing out just the first line from a number of songs.
Yes.
And did it for about 5 minutes, and they went, "I got so many hits!"
Yes.
To which my friend's answer was, "Well, just play one all the way through the piece."
Sure.
And he walked out a frustrated man.
Ooh. What, from this recent 21 nights? Well, I think he's been to a rotten evening then, because normally he's been playing at least, I would say, 50% hits, and you'll almost certainly get Kiss and Cream and Let's Go Crazy and the like. First time I went great, although I was sat next to a speaker. Second time I was up in the gods, it's some exclusive VIP section. It wasn't as good. Yes, I was sat next to Garth Crooks.
Crooksy was there.
But you've got to be in. You've got to be in the thick of it. You've got to be in there to just feel the vibe. You've got to be able to see his tiny little shoes, and the fact that he's, although still quite a good-looking, he still looks well. He hasn't aged badly. There is a slight whiff when you get up close up. The makeup. He's starting to look a little bit like Little Richard, which has got to be careful. But he's 49 now. God bless him. So anyway, I think you'll have a cracking time. Dan, of course, he loves the funk. He loves the noodle, and yet he's refusing to go and see the tiny man. I don't understand why.
Refusing seems a bit harsh. I haven't got round to it, but I think I'll continue to refuse and then regret it for the rest of my life.
There was a giant, big, fat man who somehow managed to get next to me dancing last night. He had a huge yellow t-shirt. I think he probably was foreign.
Yeah.
But, I mean, from sort of Norway or Scandinavia or something. He had some binoculars, even though we were only about 5 rows away. I thought, I don't know how close you need to see this man, how tiny. He's a very tiny man, I know, but you could see him visibly easily. He had binoculars, he had about 3 other pouches, and he was dancing, he was elbowing women, and then as they would turn to say, "What the hell are you doing?" he'd sort of mime a kind of, "Don't you worry about it," in his dance routine, in his funky dance routine. It was extraordinary. Like,
I like it when
you just wave a finger.
When people incorporate messages into their dance, that's nice.
But at one point, I'm sure, I saw Prince point at someone in the audience around our area that was not just part of his stage show. He actually had recognised him, and I think it might have been this guy. I suspect he's one of those creepy stalkers who wanders and goes to every single gig he can possibly attend.
Probably easy to spot, because you don't see many fat Scandinavians.
You don't, exactly, particularly in a bright yellow t-shirt. A friend of mine who's an obsessive Prince fan who's actually gone to almost every one of these gigs, and also all the after shows. And let me tell you now, much as I love Prince, I've been to 2 of the after shows. He's not guaranteed to show up, and I'll be, god damn it, he did not show up.
Really?
Well, he came on to
Beverly Knight or something else.
he came on to one, right? He teasingly played his guitar for about 30 seconds, buggered off. I'd had to wait 2 hours. He didn't come on till 1 o'clock. I was furious. And the second time he didn't show up at all, the tiny little
You've changed your tune a bit.
I have. I hate him, and I hope you have a rotten time. I hope he takes it out on you. Anyway, no, it's Dynamite, and if you get the chance to see your Tiny Purple one, then you should. What was I going to say? Oh, yes, Harry, it's time for you to choose a tune for us. What have you got?
Oh yeah, well I've got a track from the latest Buffalo Tom album, which was out this year, and I picked it because they came back after a long hiatus, just as we have, and it's a corking track. It's not a brilliant album, but this is a very good song, and it's called September Shirt.
It's the Steve Show, BBC Six Music with me, Stephen Merchant, back after our 4-week hiatus. Thanks for tuning in. That's Buffalo Tom and September Shirt. It's Harry's choice for this week, and although I have my cronies, one of the most popular, Sammy, is sadly stuck on a train somewhere, and the last time we spoke to her, she was in St. Neots. Can you give us a brief explanation of where St. Neots is, Harry?
Well, I can tell you, for one, that Jack's missus' family live in St. Neots.
Excellent.
Stephen Lester, his stepdad, used to live in St. Neots.
Right.
It's the largest town in Cambridgeshire, and it owes its prosperity to being at the convergence of the main roads from Huntingdon, Kimbleton and Bedford.
Does it have a Cafe Nero or any other fashionable coffee chain?
It does, and it has ample parking in the marketplace in the town centre, which is very handy.
Excellent St. Neots information, and hopefully we'll be catching up with Sammy and finding out where she is, and maybe she'll it adds a certain dramatic dimension to the show. Will she make it before the end of the programme? After the news, we're coming back with a little British hip-hop blast from the past. Credit to the Nation. From when was that, Dan? You remember? You loved it. 1994?
Oh, I love them, yeah. I reckon it was a bit earlier. I reckon you're looking at a
92?
92, 93 spot for that one.
It was 1994.
Oh, right. That was a test.
No, it just allowed me time to look through these carefully compiled notes I've scrawled on here on a piece of toilet paper. And, yeah, Teenage Sensation by Credit to the Nation, who was essentially MC Fusion. A lot of people are instantly emailing and texting in, where is MC Fusion now? And I can tell you that he is currently frontman for a group called Backup Radio, who apparently combine hip-hop, breakbeat and old-school breaks with heavy guitar-driven songwriting. And you may see them perhaps at a pub near you. So if you've seen them, then do keep in touch. What? Well, I was realising I don't really want to know how they're doing. I'm sure they're great. I mean, I was a little bit of a fan of Credit to the Nation. I was one of the few people, I think, that bought the album. And, it's a bit... although I should point out that he seemed to be sort of advocating the doobie there, and obviously earlier Prince was saying that was very much a gateway drug to heroin. So I know we're sending out mixed messages on the Steve
BBC.
Show, so I mean, you make up your own conclusions. I obviously do not condone any form of drug use. But anyway, so we enjoyed MC Fusion there, Teenage Sensation, a nice little treat from the past. But it's time now to delve into contemporary music, tunes that found their way into the pigeonhole, and a couple of different choices, including the new single from The Boss, which some people may or may not have heard, but well, almost certainly they will have heard or heard not it. Oh, it feels
rubbish.
It's so bad, isn't it? But what's good is it feels like that 4 week off didn't help us in any way.
No.
It didn't help us to sort of focus.
Didn't really think about the show.
I honestly did not give the show a moment's thought.
Oh,
That's
don't
nice.
say that, Steve, because now listeners will be going, he obviously doesn't care.
No, I'll tell you why I didn't give the show a moment's thought, because I was too busy listening to new music.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I was too busy delving into all the music, going to gigs.
Oh, I wish I'd thought that.
What a recovery from Steve. Well done.
Okay, so 3 new tunes then for you to listen to, see what you think. Here's one by a duo who are on the Saddle Creek label, that's also home, I think, to Bright Eyes and the like. And it's a band called Georgie James and a tune called Need Your Needs.
What you do doesn't mean a thing to me anymore.
John Davis and Laura Burhan make up Georgie James. They're from Washington, D.C., and as I say, they're signed to the Saddle Creek label, which has turned out some fun stuff in the past. And that's a tune called Need Your Needs, which is out tomorrow. Harry, it's a kind of jangle pop that normally would appeal to you.
Yeah, it was nice. It was big pop fun. It was, I don't know, maybe the magic numbers with some more oomph about them. It was very enjoyable.
I can imagine it passing by quite nicely on a number of radio stations, perhaps from 2 all the way down to 6.
Absolutely. And that's
About 3.
Exactly. Maybe not 3, no, or 4. I haven't really thought that through at all.
5 don't